So thinking about what we've talked about intercepts in the past, and we've been working a lot with the Y-intercept. When looking at a graph, what is an intercept? What does intercept mean? Silas.
When it like crosses or intersects with something.
When the line intersects with the axis. So, when given in a graph, when we're trying to find the x and y intercepts, when given a graph, we simply look to see that it's where the line crosses the axis. It's just where the line crosses the axis. So, let's look back at the graph that we have on page 55. And let's look at some of the intercepts that we have. What's one of the intercepts that we have? Let's look at a y-intercept first. The y-intercept at -8. What's the coordinate pair for this point? 0, -8. Let's look at another.
10.
Coordinate pair 10.
7.
You'd say 0, 10. And we can do 7, be 0, 7. So looking at all these y-intercepts, what's the x value always? 0. Cool. What about x-intercepts? Let's look at this one. What's this?
-7.
-7.
What about 0, 0?
0. 0, 0 is an x-intercept and a y-intercept. It's the only one that intercepts both. What about this point? Say 6, 0. So what's my y value for all my x-intercepts?
0.
Huh. Pretty neat. So anytime I have a y-intercept, my ordered pair is going to look like 0, comma, the y value.
Yep.
And every time I have an x-intercept, it's going to look like the x value, comma, 0.
Yeah.
Let's write that down. That's down. If you're given an x-intercept, if you want to write out an x-intercept, it's going to look like x, comma, 0. If you want to write out a y-intercept, it's going to look like 0, comma, y. Correct? That's what we just discovered?
Mm-hmm.
So I know for my x-intercepts, the x value is going to be whatever x is, and the y value is going to be 0. And for the y-intercept, the x value is going to be 0, and the y value is going to be whatever y is. So what if I want to find the x and y-intercepts from y equals 2x plus 7, and the question says, find the x and y intercepts. Find the x and y intercepts. Now think about it. How, without graphing it, because graphing is way too much work, could I find the x
So there's the Y-intercept.
intercept? So let's start out with saying, let's find the x-intercept. How would you find the x-intercept? Knowing that in x-intercepts, the x value is going to be whatever we find for x, and the y value is going to be 0. How could we find x-intercept without graphing?
Wouldn't it just be 2? It's like 2 with X.
You have to do something that starts with an S called
Substitution.
substitution. What could I substitute? So I know that when I find the x-intercept, my y value is going to be 0. So do you agree that I could substitute 0 in for y and then solve the equation? 0 equals 2x plus 7. And we know how to solve this now. It's a two-step equation. Where you subtract 7 from both sides. Negative 7 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 7 divided by 2, which equals negative 3.5.
Yep.
So if I want to know the ordered pair of my x-intercept,
So that way,
what would it look like?
negative, wait, yeah, negative 3.50.
Negative 3.50 is your x-intercept.
You should get that really fast.
Because on my x-intercept, my y value is going to be 0. So if in my equation for my line, if I put 0 in for y, then I can solve for x. I'll know my x value. I'll know my y value is 0. That's your x-intercept. So what should I do to solve for the y-intercept?
Do the same thing, but like put the 0 where the X is.
Do the same thing, but substitute 0 in for x. So it'd be y equals 2 times 0 plus 7. 2 times 0 is 0. Y equals 7. I could have also, because this equation is in slope-intercept form, I could have also looked to see my b value is 7, so my y-intercept is going to be 7. Oh, I shouldn't have boxed that in because that's not my final answer. Y equals 7 is not your final answer. What's your final answer?
0, comma 7.
0, comma 7. This is your final answer. Your answers will always be an ordered pair.
In this.
So, let's write out the steps. So, when you're finding an x and y intercept, when given a graph, you just look where the line crosses the axis. But when given an equation, substitute zero for x and solve, or when I substitute 0 in for x, which intercept am I solving for? Solve for the y-intercept. substitute zero for y and solve for the x-intercept. Let's try this out again. So if I give you the equation, if I'm given the equation 3x plus 4y equals 12, when I find the x and y intercepts. And we can't just identify the y-intercept right off the bat, because is this in slope-intercept form?
No.
No, this is called when the x and y are on the same side, when the variables are on the same side, when it looks like ax plus by equals c. This is called standard form. When the variables are the same side, it's called standard form. So 3x plus 4y equals 12 is in standard form. Now let's solve. Which intercept do we want to do first? Let's do x first. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. But for solving for the x-intercept, what should I substitute for? Y for 0. So I just do 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 12. 4 times 0 is 0, so that's just 3x equals 12. X equals 4. So my final answer looks like what? 4, 0. Your answer will be an ordered pair. Try to do the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, I want to substitute 0 in for x, so it'll look like 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 12. 3 times 0 is 0, so it becomes 4y equals 12, y equals 3. And then my final answer.
Wait, oh my god. I spent all that time putting it in my
Be 0, 3. Let's do some more. Let's look at 2x minus 5y equals 10. Find the x and y intercepts. Two x plus 5y equals 10. Find the x and y intercepts. Try this on your own. find the x-intercept. You substitute 0 in for y. Find the y-intercept. Substitute 0 in for x. Check your answers. There's a second problem. Find the intercepts of 15 plus 3y equals 8x. 15 plus 3y equals 8x. Other questions? 15 plus 3y equals 8x. So it's the same steps. Find the y-intercept. You substitute 0 in for x. Find the x-intercept. You substitute 0 in for y. Can they be decimals? Look at our first example. Are decimals numbers?
Okay, that is a decimal.
Wait, you want us? One.
You can put the whole thing because there aren't that many decimals. So you'll substitute 0 in for x, solve for y to get your y-intercept, and you'll substitute 0 in for y, solve for x to get your x-intercept. Go ahead and check your answers with what's on the board. The next problem says 9x minus 13y equals 27. Find the x-intercept. So now you have to think, which variable do I substitute for? Which variable do you have to substitute 0 in for to find the x-intercept? Here it's only asking for the x-intercept.
Wait, so do you? So for the last problem, so whenever you flip 15 over to the other side of the equal sign, it becomes a negative.
Because you would subtract 15 from both sides.
You would?
Because
Oh, you would, because you would subtract.
there you go. Let's do 10x minus 2y equals 32. Find check your answer with what you have on board. Remember, your final answer is not x equals 3. Your final answer is going to be the ordered pair.
I just didn't do it yet. I don't remember what the answer was.
This next one, 10x minus 2y equals 32. Find the y-intercept. So think it's only asking for the y-intercept.
Would it
What?
be negative 0? That wouldn't be negative 0, that's not right.
9x minus 0 is just 9x, right? You take nothing from it, it's just 9x. You don't even have to write it. You can just do 9x and just cancel it. Okay. So if I want to solve for the y-intercept, I'll substitute 0 in for x. I could just write out negative 2y equals 32, y equals negative 16, but that's not my final answer. My final answer will look like 0, comma, negative 16. And that is how we find the x and y intercepts from an equation.